Frank ranks week 16. Can you believe it? We're 16 weeks into the year already. I think we're actually 17 because I skipped a week. But yeah, we're going to check out Marvel. We're going to check out DC. We're going to check out Independence. What's going to be number one this week? We got 8 books to talk about. Let's do it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zanca. I'm an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to jump into all these 8 books that I read this week. Before we do, definitely check out my stuff on Amazon. I am a writer, so you could definitely check out that just by going to Amazon.com and type my name in, or there's a link in the description below. You can check out my 4-novel series, which is Destiny Aurora. It's a sci-fi fantasy, kind of like Star Trek meets Guardians of the Galaxy. It's pretty cool, and it was made into a board game. It was made into an RPG, and it's also on Audible as well. And as it was a graphic novel too, a 150-page graphic novel it was adapted into. You can check out my fantasy book, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. I'm also working on a new fantasy fairy tale book called Battle for the Ruby Slippers, and I am working on a new comic that is pretty much half done right now. It's going to be launching on Kickstarter probably within the next month or so. I'm literally working on it right now, and I am going to Dallas Expo, so I'm going to probably hand out some flyers and things to that effect, but the artwork's looking pretty good. All right, so let's jump into these 8 books. So we're going to... Yes, we do have some Marvel. I was going to say, do I even have a Marvel in here? Most of what I get nowadays is Independence, because Marvel and DC have really dropped in quality. DC is actually higher quality. Marvel's in the dumps, man. There's only one book I look forward to for Marvel every month, and that is Moon Knight. That's pretty much it. So let's jump into number 8. Number 8! It's actually an independent book by Alex Segura, and that is Green Hornet and Miss Fury. This is actually a pretty bad book. He doesn't really get Green Hornet, which is funny because I love his Dick Tracy. I think he gets Dick Tracy really, really well and the world, but this he just doesn't get it. I think Miss Fury is a public domain character because a bunch of people different use her, and she looks basically like she's basically Catwoman. But nobody's writing Catwoman well either. So but the problem with this is Britt Reed and Kato. They just don't act like each other. They're at each other's throats. It's just doesn't. The whole thing is just doesn't work. The entire book, and there's only one more issue left, which is the reason I'm still getting it. It's only 5-issue miniseries. But it's unfortunate because I like the characters. I don't like the full face mask on Green Hornet either. But in this book, at least we got it down to just the mask, which I prefer. But I do not recommend this book in the least. I'm just going to get the last book just because it's one more book left. All right, and for number 7, we have a DC book. So this will be number 7, JSA by Jeff Lemire. This was the continuation with the death of Wildcat, Ted Grant, and it starts out with his funeral, and they're fighting with the Injustice Society, and Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman walk in, and they say, "Yeah, we're taking this thing over. We're taking over the Injustice Society fight," and they're like, "Oh hell, you are!" Meanwhile, they're just coming off a funeral. And Batman is acting like a complete dick. And this is all just one big dialogue issue. Yolanda, who's the new Wildcat, if you've watched the Stargirl series, the same character, she should be going to prison because she basically ripped the throat out of a bad guy that was already a captive. So I don't even know why she's not in prison for that, but I think she should have gone to prison. But again, this is all basically a dialogue issue. No action happens at all. So I really like this to ramp up. I don't know why Jeff Lemire is just spinning his wheels at this point. Okay, and we're going into number 5. So let me see. Is that right? No, number 6. Right, number 6. Sorry, because I have 5 left. All right, number 6. Mark Spears Monsters. So this the artwork is phenomenal. I mean, of course, you know I'm friends with Mark Spears. He and I did our monster card game that I'm holding off sending to China right now because I don't know how I'm going to get it out of China without it costing us another $20,000, which we don't have. But if you'd like a copy of that, let me know because we're obviously still in, we're still in late pledge because again I can't send the files over. The files are getting done right now, but I can't send it over to China yet, and because the tariffs are still in place. But however, I did hear that the meetings have been taking place and have been going well, so hopefully those tariffs will be going away shortly. But anyway, I still think that we have another month or so before that happens. But anyway, this the artwork is great, and it starts out with like this wizard talking to his apprentice. I don't even understand why it was there. Then we have 2 storylines going on. One with the Goonies, and he has one of the fat guy that has the fat kid has a thing that says "Who shot JR," which is a reference to the '80s Dallas show. If you're not from the '80s, you're not gonna get it. And anyway, they're dare each other basically to go to this haunted house, and he ends up they end up running away. But Frankenstein and Dracula are all in there, and I'm still waiting for that continuation with Van Helsing, which hasn't happened yet. But then we got this other guy, this drifter, that's picked up by the sheriff, and he's tossed in jail, and he ends up being a werewolf. And I think he kills the sheriff at the end there too, but he's all howling at the moon, but he gets out of the jail, and that's pretty much this issue. The artwork's great. I just wish there was. Oh, that's right. And Slayer, who drags himself into this girl that has this snake tattoo on her face and down her body, and apparently they have some kind of relationship. But like the next page, he's sitting up like he's mostly cured. So I don't know if he had like self-healing or anything like that, but I wish that Mark had said something that if he does, because it just felt very abrupt that he was dragging himself in and then the next one he's sitting up like he's fine. So I just wish there was a little more dialogue on that. But anyway, yeah, it's good. I just wish it was a little more cohesive. It kind of feels all over the place. All right, the next one, which is number 5. Now it's actually number 5. Star Wars, which is my only Marvel book in this list. And you can notice that it's all independent. I think we have 1 DC and 1 Marvel. Everything else is independent. And in fact, my whole rest of my list is all independent. Good for independence as far as I'm concerned. It was time, really, for the independents just to take over. But anyway, I didn't hate this book as much as a lot of people did. A lot of people really hated this issue. And this is by Alex Segura again. Yep. Yeah, so I have I have 2 issues here of Alex Segura, and I'm about to read Dick Tracy too, which is 3. But this one is only okay, and I think that it has a little bit more potential. So we start out with this squadron chasing after, which Luke is leading. I don't know if he's leading it or not. But anyway, they finally bumped this whole thing up above Empire, Jedi, because the last one was taking place between Empire and Jedi, which made no sense. I dropped it. I think a lot of people did, and they're back up to $4.99 again. I really hope it drops back down to $3.99 when it's for the second issue, because Star Wars isn't worth any more than $3.99 as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, I was collecting all of Star Wars, and I dropped everything, and the only thing I was holding on to was Bounty Hunters, and then they ended that because I like Valance. So here, I think Luke is leading. He doesn't feel like he's leading it, but I don't know who. If he wasn't leading, I don't know who was. But anyway, they just run into a Star Destroyer. How do you run into a Star Destroyer unless it's coming out of hyperspace? You can see 10 miles away. You can see a fucking Star Destroyer. Don't they have computers that even have long range sensors or whatever? But anyway, they just run into it. So when one of their people gets killed, they basically try to escape. But this new character, Rin, decides that they're going to chase one of the wounded pirates down to the planet. He ends up committing suicide or whatever else that explodes and blows Luke back. And Luke needs to be saved by the girl. I can't imagine Luke being, at this point in his career, being saved by anyone. He's the one that does the saving. So then we totally break for like 5 pages of Leia having this trade negotiation with this other woman that slowed everything down for no reason. And she decides that she's going to go to war with Leia, and they end up blowing up a ship. But as a third, like we need 3 different storylines in here, but we end up with Valance, and he's trapped on this planet with these other pirates or whatever that are dressed like stormtroopers, which I thought was actually kind of cool. Each one has a different helmet from a different stormtrooper type. And but anyway, Han ends up coming to save him, which that's the only storyline I really want to continue. I liked all that, but again, we don't need 3 storylines in one Star Wars book. So I really hope Alex gets, pulls this shit together here. So the next 3 I read digitally. So number 4, this would be number 4. G.I. Joe number 316 by Larry Hama. I really liked this issue. It was very moody, and I liked the idea behind it. So the idea behind it is that this Crimson Guard family wants to defect out of Cobra. Wow, what a great idea. So they end up going to a G.I. Joe installation or whatever, and I'm not sure if there was the pit or not, the outside of the pit or not. And Spirit's there, I believe, and I'm surprised they let them in. This was my only problem with it, because they could have been a suicide family, right? They could have gone in there and had some kind of Semtex on them or whatever else and could have blown up for all they knew. But discounting that, it's a good idea. So meanwhile, we switch over to, Baroness was shot by Cobra Commander, and Destro had Cobra Commander, which I really hope they put the helmet back on him. This stupid mustache glasses thing isn't working for me. But anyway, he says, if she dies, you die. So she ends up living, and she's in a wheelchair at this point, healing up. And she gives off the thing that she's fine with everything. Everything's just forgiven. But in the middle of the night, she gets up to kill him. And Destro ends up being behind her. Doesn't stop her. She stops herself. And he says, I was just wondering if you were going to do it. Really good stuff. But then Snake Eyes and his group, I don't like having a whole ninja group, and I do not like having Storm Shadow as a good guy, but whatever. So they're going to change up and have prosthetics put on them to be the family and go back to where the Crimson Guards are to infiltrate. That's a really good idea, man. I actually love that idea. So that makes that number 4 for me. But good stuff. All right. Number 3. Pop Kill. This is the very strange story. A very strange story of 2 brothers that are conjoined that then get by the arm. And so each one of them only has one arm. And they both decide to open soda companies. But one of them has a employee, which is a female. I think her name is Dina or something like that. And she has a dog. And so she created this chemical ingredient or whatever else, so that the soda never goes flat. Okay, that's this big thing that everybody's after. Is this chemistry, chemical that they can instill into the process where the soda never goes flat. Okay, so John, I think his name is John, is like an assassin type of whatever, but he's sent to woo her and get her to move over to the other company, to the other brother. But she ends up saying, no, I'm going to stay loyal. But just for the fact that he was with her, when she gets back, she is tortured. Because they don't believe that she wasn't trying to defect. And she's like, why would I come back? And they're just beating the shit out of her. So, meanwhile, John ends up going back to one of his buddies that was working for the other company. Anyway, they're not buddies, they're rivals. So they end up fighting, and he ends up killing him and finding out where she is. And she's working diligently for the other company because they threatened her dog and her life and everything like that, and he's trying to come save her now. It's interesting, but I really didn't need a full flashback of the brothers and their stories of one another. I didn't need any of that. And then we get a flashback of the nemesis for John too, so too many flashbacks in this thing. Otherwise, it's by Palmiotti, I think. Otherwise, I think it's good considering that this is off the wall idea. All right, number 2, Flash Gordon. I think that's Mad Cave doing that. Image, I think, is Pop Kill. And I think Image is also G.I. Joe. So you have 2 Image books there and Mad Cave. And but anyway, the Flash Gordon's done by my buddy Jeremy Adams. And I have not really been collecting it initially because I did not like which has nothing to do with him. But I didn't like how the designs are for Ming. I didn't like this green alien-looking character for Ming and Aura. I didn't like any of that. So I didn't collect it for a while. And then I jumped back into it probably about 3 issues ago. This is number 9, so I think I picked it up at like 5 or something like that. And I like it. I just do not like... I cannot get used to Ming looking like this alien creature. I just can't get used to that, and he's green, and I just can't get used to it. But again, that has nothing to do with Jeremy's writing on it. I do like Zarkov being in a robot body. I really like that. And he's growing himself back. He's growing a body back for himself right now. But I kind of like him as the robot. And so this is Dale's story. Because he's known as like a planet killer because Mongo was destroyed or whatever. And he's hooked up with Voltan and his son, which is the Hawkman. But anyway, they go to visit Dale, who is now the Empress. Okay, and she comes at him with a knife and tries to kill him. And when the guards come in, he takes her out the window. So he literally jumps through the window with her body. He didn't even try to shield her. He uses her body to go through the window, which I was like, what? Because I thought maybe she was mind controlled or something. But he didn't give a shit about hurting her, which I thought was interesting. But anyway, the Hawkmen catch them, or Voltan captures both of them. And I think he even mentioned something about that, and he's like, that's not Dale. So he knew that wasn't Dale, which makes more sense why he wouldn't care if she went through the window first. So anyway, he basically threatens her and everything like that, and she takes them to where Dale is being sequestered in this vault or whatever. She's in some kind of a cell, and not only is she in a cell, but she's chained up in the cell. How she's eating or anything like that, I have no idea. But anyway, she gets out, and she basically tells the story about how she went to go save Flash, or go at least, try to help him, and she got blown up by an explosion. But when she woke up, this other girl was there from another dimension or whatever else that looked like her, and basically took her life over while she was being held captive. And she belts her too. It was pretty funny. But she ended up selling I don't understand that shit because I guess I missed those issues. She ended up selling Ming and Flash that were in capsules to another guy. But I don't know. I didn't understand much of that. But that's pretty much the storyline. And of course now the prince or the guard or whatever else are there to get Dale back because she is the Empress, and that's how it ends. So pretty good stuff. All right, number one, another independent. This one's by Dynamite. Space Quest, number one. So I thought that the last Johnny Quest, and again, Mark Spears, by the way, but I liked the original Johnny Quest. I think it was great. I just thought it was okay. But I do love Propose's Space Ghost. I love it. And I'm not a fan of him as a writer because he also did Punisher and stuff like that. And I even hear that his I'm not a Captain Planet fan, so I wouldn't even get that anyway. But I hear it's just a little bit too far out there. And but anyway, so I'm not really a fan of his as a writer. But his Space Ghost is amazing, and I love it. I get really excited when it comes out every month. But I think this was a really good continuation for Joe Casey, saying, "How do I get my sales up?" And he decides to couple it with Space Ghost, and the word Space Quest is. Come on, man. You couldn't have come up with a better name than that. That's amazing. So I think that, if they did a Space Ghost movie and a Johnny Quest movie and they did this movie as a shared universe movie, that would be friggin' amazing. So anyway, we start out with Benton, and they are back now from the future. Race is meeting with Jade because he finds out they have a kid together in the future, so he's trying to rekindle that thing. Meanwhile, Haji and Bandit, I'm going to include the dog, and Johnny and Benton go to get this alien spaceship crashed, and the government has it. Of course, he works for the government, so he's there to try to figure out how to start it up. But he doesn't want to start it up because he feels that it would be bad. That they have the chip that they used to get back home to power the time machine, and he doesn't want to use it, but Johnny uses it anyway, just to prove he can. And these bad guys come in that want to steal the thing, and they start shooting it up. They end up getting this platform. When he starts up this thing, Jan and Jace, that's what it is. I can remember the boy's name, but Jan and Jace end up, and Blip end up transferring to the 60s and can't speak English. And meanwhile, Johnny, Haji, and Bandit are with Space Ghost. What a great idea. I don't know where it's going to go. I don't know how that thing combines. But it's a good idea. I like it. All right. And that is my number one for the week. All right. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know if you agree, disagree with all of my picks, or if you guys have them in different orders. Or you just don't have them there at all if you have something else on there. Also, remember, give me a like, give me a thumbs up if you can. And if you can, subscribe, please do. Share this video out there. And if you want to check out stuff that I've written, definitely go to Amazon.com and type my name in, or click the link in the description below. I'll see you guys on the next one. Have an awesome week. All right.